Just tell me a little bit about your company and when you got in business and where you're going and, that kind of stuff.
Well, I was hoping you would tell me where we were going, but I can at least go where we started. How's that?
Well, I can write you a proposal for that. How's that?
Well, we are a fabricator based out of Wichita, Kansas. I was born and raised here, and I moved away for several years in another profession. I took over this company 8 years ago, almost to the day, I think in the month. So I have been a user of Synchronous Solutions for a little over, not quite a year and a half. So when I took over 8 years ago, we were not a digital shop, and we have grown exponentially in the last 8 years. And part of the problems that we had were one of the main reasons why that we went to Synchronous Solutions.
Okay, when you 8 years ago, how big was the shop?
We were doing a little short of, the company at the time was doing a little short of, we'll just say $1 million in annual revenue.
So you were doing 4 or 5 people altogether?
Yes. Yeah, when I first got here. Yeah, correct.
Okay. And I mean, I don't need precise numbers, but I just want an order of magnitude of how much.
We're close to, last year, we were very close to a $7 million shop in revenue.
Yeah. And it was about 18 months ago that you brought Synchronous Flow on. What made you think that you needed that kind of structure? I mean, obviously you'd been doing something right for, 6 years.
There were just, mainly it was for me. I had read about it in the Slippery Rock for years, and I really liked, the stuff that it said. And it was just, even though the growth has been fantastic, and it created some serious stress for me, and, my work-life balance was just atrocious. And it was just hard for me to picture out a way for me to get out of work in 65 to 70 hours a week. I was not, when we encountered that kind of growth and everything was just kind of moving along, it's just one task after another got added to this, added to that, and time was just, I just had no time. And Synchronous Solutions, along with the ActionCOACH part of it, allowed me to kind of step away. I mean, it was, I had to create some extra time to do this, and I didn't have extra time, but I was assuming that the journey was going to be worth it, and I wasn't disappointed. So, they helped me find people and get them in the right spot, and learn to delegate some things that I needed to delegate, and kind of pass on some things. But ultimately it was for their good too. We were just it was just kind of as much as I'd like to say organized chaos is still chaotic, right? So there was just I wanted it to be just a little smoother and a little better. I liked playing offense and always have way better than defense. So.
Sure. I get you. One of the things that Rick talks a lot about is, how can you set up your company so that it'll operate very well without you? And I guess reduction in the number of work hours would be part of that. You were at 70, 75 hours a week. Where are you now?
I feel like I'm probably about 50, and that feels like a part-time job for me. So that's how bad it was. So, I don't work on the weekends now, was one of my main things. That was my first removal of that. I knew this program was working when I could just not work on the weekends. And, if I'm gone for a Friday or a couple days, then I'm not too concerned about it really. So it's been a nice change. And I worked hard in a year with Rick and Mark and working this out. So, I can't disappear for 6 months yet, but I'm in still a way better shape. It takes a lot of time to get it to where it operates truly without me. And honestly, at that point, I'm not sure that it's worth my goal. I don't know what else I would do. So.
Well, if you take the 2 trend lines, that you're getting growth in company size and revenue, and you're getting a reduction in hours worked, at some point those two lines cross where you don't have to work at all and you have ultimate growth, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Correct. That is right.
Okay, well, that's terrific. I'm curious. You said you read about Synchronous Solutions in the Slippery Rock Gazette. Have you had any conversations? Did you validate with anybody else? Was there anything else, or was it just, well, I've been reading about it in the Gazette, let's give it a shot?
Well, I had gone to, you know, during my earlier years, like I haven't done anything that's been me. Like all I've done is just tried to learn and soak up information from others. Like I just copy. That's just my job. Like that's just all I do is I look at other people that have been successful and smarter than me. And if it works for them, then I have to weigh whether it works for me and whether I can afford it and what the timing is. So throughout those journeys of whether it be seminars or digital expos with my machinery or Rockheads events or whatever, you know, and the trade magazines, you know, like the Slippery Rock, it was just I always gravitated towards that because, well, I remember when I first met Ed, I asked him because at the time I was not as big as I was now, but you know, I was kind of halfway. I was kind of about $4 million, and I asked, is this just for big companies? And I told him my problem, and he was just like, no, this is actually for, you know, companies about your size. And so it was just, I was just wore out. I was just frankly just wore out. And even though the growth was great and the revenue was great, I really can tell you that I really wasn't quite enjoying it like I should. You know, I just couldn't, I didn't have a minute to think. I didn't have a minute to rest. I mean, anything you did was always filled with something else. So when I asked him that, is pretty much when we got serious to that. You know, and there's some benefit to it, you know, so the program does cost some money, but at the same time, there was some proven metrics that they showed me that you get that money back and then some, you know, by fixing your processes and your flows and you know, increasing your profit margin is ultimately the goal of every company. I think I would think so. And then once I saw that was possible, then it was pretty much a no-brainer for me. Like, okay, so I make more money or the same, and I pay for this, and I get a life back. I was like, okay, sign me up, and that was about it.
So interesting. You get your life back. That's how much we've heard that so many times. Yeah, I just want to get my life back. There are a number of different dimensions as you run your business. I'm curious where you think the greatest impact of synchronous flow was on your business. You know, was it in the plant? Was it in the way you structured your approach to the market? What do you think?
You know, honestly, I don't think there's anything that's untouched. It was everything. It allowed me to kind of get out of the weeds, so to speak, you know. So I still, you know, I was 100% working in my business at the time, like in it. Like I didn't have time to do much else other than just survive and just kind of figure out the day's problems and go to the next day. Well, now my time working in it is really not, it's not a large percentage anymore. So I work on it. So that has been, so when you work on it, then, you know, you touch all of those things. So that's where that came into play. So we are able to go and I can look at sales and marketing. I could look at plant flow. I can look at machinery. I can look at you know, leadership roles that I need, management roles that I need, coaching, builder relations or customer relations, like all of those things that I really enjoyed to do, I was able to do and to step back and see a bigger picture, which was which was a lot different. It was a lot different.
Yeah. Wow. Terrific. Great stuff. I'm gonna let let's see, bottom left panel on mine. I'll let Maria, and it's like, and now for a word from our sponsor. Talking about what we're going to be doing in Nashville. So I'll let Maria bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah, awesome. Mike, thank you. It sounds like quite a transformation just in the last 18 months from your side of things. What can people really look forward to talking to you about, and what types of questions can they come prepared for you?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. This will be one of my first. This will be one of my first events that I've gone to. I'm a pretty straight shooter, and I don't think any question is off the books, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. But before I was a fabricator, I was also a builder, so I had a little bit of knowledge of just the construction, but nothing granite or stone. I didn't know anything about it other than I bought it. So I've had to start from ground zero and learn everything through other people, like through Synchronous Solutions. Everything from other people is basically it. So I'd say any question is probably a great question.
That's awesome. You're an open book.
I would hope so. And if I don't know the answer, then hopefully there's somebody there that can answer it for me.
Good deal. Well, we're really looking forward to having you on the panel. And for our listeners out there, if you want to learn more about the Elevate Forum happening on April 3rd in Nashville, click on the link in the comments or the description, and you can find out more at that website. Thank you again, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.